have a shot of this beautiful crowd, of course, in the bottom left as the blue Zerg player, currently 3-0 in his group, wanting to get that #1 spot. It is Reynor.
And going to open up with the spawning pool first is Reynor. I've seen him do this a lot against Dream, against ByuN, a few of these other Terrans who are known for skipping the SCV scout. Those guys who like to just build a Marine first especially, or send their Reaper straight across the map. And in this case, it's actually going to be a command center first from ByuN. So this creates a really weird scenario because 6 Zerglings will come across the map. And the thing is, the command center should finish in time, be able to lift up, and just kind of lift off to the high ground or something like that. It does cancel the orbital from starting, but as long as ByuN kind of gets his wall off up, he should be okay to not take too much damage.
6 links is all. That's a very big investment. And the CC first against the pool first is kind of considered to be a blind counter in favor of the Terran here, as there's an investment in that fast pool into those early links. And like you mentioned, there's really no damage to be done as long as there is a wall upstairs. Often we see Terrans wall with a factory to complete that full wall because there's no requirement for a second depot because the CC finishes up in time.
That funny thing, of course, in Legacy of the Void, the command centers, the next eye hatcheries all got increased supply that comes with them. It's 15 supply. You get that second command center, check it out. You might look like your supply block, bam, 15 supply is free. These 6 Zerglings are heading forwards. The factory does complete the wall off. You called it there, Harston. And these Zerglings, they're going to be able to damage a command center, maybe get a single FCV. It's going for the ramp. Got to raise that depot, ByuN. Good reactions.
Yeah, I think he'll finish the orbital here, and afterwards he'll most likely lift so he can continue producing workers on that high ground. Of course, we'll cut about 1 worker because of that. The lift from low to high ground will take probably around 12 seconds. Once that factory finishes up, there might be a timing for Reynor to try and sneak in if these 2 buildings decide to swap. Do you think that ByuN is just going to build 1 Hellion first? Probably, right?
Against Reynor, you want to. With only 1 Marine, I mean, look, he's already so antsy. I mean, as ByuN, you know he's going to get there as you lift the factory off. There's just no way you want to risk it. And ByuN wisely does just build 2 Marines and a Hellion. The SCV actually not only escaping the clutches of the Zerglings, gets in there, checks the Zergling speed is on the way, but also sees that he's pulled off gas afterwards, which means no Roaches, no Banelings this early, no quick glare for 2 base muta. ByuN very methodically getting all the information he needs and getting well set up for the next stage of the game.
Yeah, this allows him to comfortably swap into Hellion production. Of course, if there's 9 Roaches on the way, getting 2 Hellions isn't the greatest counter. Might actually want to get a bunker up, maybe a couple of mines even from that factory, or just continue that Marine production with that reactor. However, now we have the tech lab already being built on the barracks. Starport and barracks will make that swap. And I think we're going into Hellion Banshee from here on out.
Yeah, the swap does go on. Of course, there's got to be a little bit of urgency on slowing down your opponent. Reynor famous last year for bringing in his revolutionary practice technique of stacking 5 pro gamers or GM players on top of each other in Archon mode and saying, hey, I'm gonna learn how to defend. And his big kind of revolutionary thing there, it was such a small detail, but it was put your queens on 2 control groups so you can easily defend the Hellions with 1, the Banshees with the other. And it was the lack of the Hellion Banshee finding any damage against him consistently that really led to his success in him gaining that world championship. But these Hellions coming in nice and early. Oh, nice ling run by.
Yeah, 1 worker already going down. Second one is getting targeted down and will indeed fall. ByuN's Hellions tried to go for a deep dive on the other side, but actually I think 2 of them just fell there. And I don't think he got too much damage done, did he? 1 drone, 8 links, but a lot of those links were from earlier or just in the main base. So good trade here to start for Reynor.
And a very quick lair goes down for him as well. I mean, I think Reynor's feeling good about the Mutalisk play after his series with Maru. I definitely think that's what the quick lair is going to be for as the Banshees come across the map. 3rd command center goes down for ByuN. And ByuN, he's got the Hellions still massing up at the front a little bit. He's now swapped over into the barracks build-up. Let's see what these Banshees can find.
As the first Banshee moves in, Queen will start trying to push it away. And, 1 drone already fell, second one gets damaged. Hellions are going to go in for a deep dive. How many links is there on the map? Well, seems to be not that many, actually 4 links remaining. That's a lot of cars here, Pick. Good Evo block though. And these drones will be running to safety. Brilliant quick play there out of Reynor. Some good thinking. Banshee will find a little bit of damage, but does need to be careful. Can't really afford losing it. That's still in range of the Spore. Almost goes down.
For those of you who don't know, that effortless defense with the Evo Chamber, yeah, that's where you're meant to lose 20 workers. Here we go, round 2. ByuN does get a little bit more damage, but he will pay with a lot of the lives of those Hellions. 7 workers do go down, and not going to be able to get any more on top of that. Nice play by Reynor to hang on and defend. And honestly, that quick Evo Chamber, you're meant to take so much more damage there, but just such a clutch reaction. And it's that ability to just buy a moment extra for those Zerglings to pop that makes Reynor such a high caliber player.
Yeah, I mean, 4 Lings against 8 Hellions, that's a fight that most Zergs don't win, but Reynor managed to push these Hellions away with the pure willpower, it felt like, and perhaps the help of an Evo Chamber. Quick Baneling speed is starting here. Double Evo's going down, no Spire yet, so perhaps just wanted to get a very quick Baneling speed. Bench actually providing high ground here, denying some vision on the map, and potentially supply blocking Reynor. Reynor, of course, has plenty of capacity there, so won't be supply blocked by a simple move like this. So Spire does go down after the double Evo.
Triple Evo, actually, remember? I'm pretty sure one of those was an accident. I think Reynor maybe getting a little excited. But yeah, that is interesting to go the double Evos into the Spire, isn't it? I was totally on board with you. I was like, oh yeah, it's not Spire play, but then no. Apparently Reynor wants to go both directions at once. So he's going to have decently timed upgrades and should be popping up that 1-1 now. I say decently, it's still far behind the Terran, and it's not a super crisp Spire timing. So I gotta say, ByuN, you might not say, oh, he didn't kill dozens of workers, but he's definitely slowed Reynor down, put a few dents in the creep spread, and the Marines are here. Just as that creep hits the halfway point of the map, he's ready to keep it under control.
Yeah, this is honestly not a... Ooh, well, I was gonna say, this is honestly not a bad early game for ByuN, and he loses 6 workers, or 6 Marines to a couple of these Banes. Combat Shield not quite finished up yet, of course. Makes them kind of vulnerable there on creep. With that fast Baneling speed as well. As the mine decides to move back a tiny bit. Spire is about to finish up, and we have enough money in the bank for about 4 Mutalisks. That's not really going to make a dent in ByuN's eco.
Second factory is about to finish, which will allow him to branch out into Thors and Widow Mines once he realizes it is indeed Mutalisk play. That Widow Mine does fire, but it has effectively diffused there. Reynor, one of the best at doing that whole position micro and just pulling the Zerglings forward, spreading his units out. And there's a lot of Widow Mines. I love the way he spreads Banelings into the Widow Mines, right? So if you've got Widow Mines clumped, it only takes 3 Banelings to kill them. So, hey, 2 or 3 Widow Mines, you just throw three Banelings into that, detonate in the middle, and it effectively stops them getting those giant 20-30 Zergling kill shots.
Yeah. Absolutely. 4cc very quick here for ByuN, and his worker count is also quite high already. Barracks 6, 7 and 8 going down, 2-2 on the way. I'm loving this game so far for ByuN, honestly. I've seen Reynor spread creep extremely fast, but ByuN is controlling it in the middle so far.
Those Banshees probably going to spot the Mutalisks as well. Overseer's hunting for them right now. Marines and Widow Mines starting to push through the center. The Ling Bane count is starting to build as well. There we go. Banshees will go down, but sacrifice will not be in vain. Having a heads up on those Mutalisks, very important to allow ByuN to get his extra turrets, maybe leave a squad of Marines in the main base potentially to back that up. And the 4th base is going to go out and land. Now, Mutaling Bane versus Bio, right? It's all about avoiding the front-on fights. The Mutalisks want to get in from behind. They want to backstab. They want to fight away from the front because Widow Mines are just so darned cost-efficient with well-upgraded Marines.
Yeah, definitely. Muta's looking to find a little bit of damage. Will perhaps be capable of taking out this refinery first. Thor is about to pop out as well. We saw drilling claws being researched on top of that. As these Mutas are still looking for something. But I'm not quite sure if they will find it. At the same time, ByuN hasn't really been pushing. He hasn't been doing a lot of damage on the map. Perhaps afraid of Mutalisks counterattacking or a Ling run by. But at this point, with 2-2 being close to completion, perhaps he wants to set up something here.
Yeah, I think ByuN is at that point where you've now got quad Marauder production. That's huge. Getting those tanky boys up front with their concussive shells, which I do hope you remember to upgrade in this game, is going to be really big. The Thors, the Widow Mine count really growing as well, makes it very difficult for the Zerg to take those fights. So once you get a wall of Marauders up front, suddenly it slows down the Ling Bane advance, gives you these big areas that are going to force the Widow Mines to get big hits off. You've got Thors. If they get clumped up Mutalisk shots, they're going to do massive splash damage as well. And if the Zerg refuses to fight, the Terran likes to split the army in 2 halves, push down both extreme flanks, and eventually you're just trying to create situations where you're baiting the Zerg player into these Widow Mines, looking for the value in the long term.
Yeah, definitely. ByuN's taking his sweet time though here, making sure he's not being run by anywhere. I wouldn't mind if he decides to clear a little bit of creep in the middle as we see a scan going down. That's exactly going to be his plan. His mine count is ridiculous here. I think it's 12, 13 mines. He's pushing down the middle. There's still part of his army at home as well. This is a big pickoff here with the queens.
Yeah, a lot of queens go down. Not going to be able to respread his creep very well. Going to go for a bit of a surround here is Reynor. Quick hot pickup by ByuN though. Does save a lot of those units. Drops behind it. Does evade any crucial damage. And Reynor sharking. He wants to fight right now. ByuN, he's working so hard to not give Reynor that opportunity.
Yes, 2 Thors are here. Muta count is very large, so there's not that many Marines in the army. Where is ByuN's army? Here it comes, a lot on the left side, a lot to the north as well. ByuN decides to move forward a bit, still has that upgrade lead for a couple more seconds, but +2 melee attack is also about to finish. 27 more Banelings on the way as ByuN marches on to the creep of Reynor.
Reynor has a massive income right now. His gas count's very low as he makes another 30 Banelings. Hive is almost finished. 2-2 upgrades gonna kick in. That's gonna tie up the upgrades. The previous fight was 2-2 for the Terran, only 1-1 for the Zerg. Now it's even for another minute until 3-3 finishes.
Yeah, what's absolutely crazy is that so much gas was spent there that perhaps Reynor can't even afford the 3-3 upgrades the moment that his high finishes. He wanted these Banelings to feel safe. That was a scary moment. Carapace starts immediately. Actually, he has plenty for +3 attack as well. He's freaking 10 gas. What am I talking about? Is these turrets get taken out before they finish up, and now Reynor is in his comfort zone. He has a bunch of mutas flying around. We saw how brilliant he was with these bad boys against Maru as he continues dealing more and more damage. +2. Oh my god.
Oh, distracting with the mutas, rolling the Banes in at the other point at the same time. Lots of SCVs going down. The 2 Thors come back. But oh, once again, ByuN stepping on creep while distracted by the Mutalisks. Oh, and look at this. Reynor is just picking him apart. A 3rd Thor comes back, but 2 have already fallen victim to this pack of mutas.
Yeah, and there's no Marines here to support that Thor either. 30 workers have gone down. These 2 turrets will be targeted down as well. And Reynor in an absolutely dominant position this game. Huge bank once again. We've seen it so many times already for Reynor, but he just doesn't seem to lose any workers. He gets 100 drones and then just keeps throwing more and more Banelings at his opponent.
ByuN really tried to slow the pace down in this one. You could tell he wanted to avoid exactly this situation, but Reynor showed really awesome patience. He just waited for his moment, and then the moment ByuN's guard was down, wow, he pounces hard, he pounces fast, and look at that. Trades a whole lot of Banelings for a planetary. Cost for cost, it's not a good trade, but it's all about the position. Reynor's up on 7 bases. He can afford to throw some Banelings away. He keeps you off that 5th base. It's going to be fantastic for him in the long term because he's just mining so much more. He's got the bank to spare, and this also forces the Terran to get a bit more aggressive, to spread the units out. Every time the Terran spreads out, the Zerg gets more chances for these small little trades where Reynor finds the efficiency.
God, these mutas, I feel like they've been flying around between the main, natural, and the fort base for the past 2.5 minutes. They've been finding so much damage. There is a 180 supply here for ByuN, and a lot of that is in army, but Banelings and Links on creep can be so supply efficient in a way at times. And these mutas still flying around as well. Big run by into the 3rd base at the same time. Reynor does not relent, and here comes the Link Bane trying to clean up ByuN's army, and he's going to be able to clean up a large chunk of that.
Oh yeah, without any Marines left or only a handful in the back, Zerglings should be able to clean it up, but, well, I guess there's none right now. We'll give up just 1 base. 97 workers still up for Reynor, though. A very healthy economy. ByuN's economy, on the other hand, is in tatters. That base on the right just keeps having Zerglings in it. The mutas bouncing between the main, the natural, the 3rd on repeat. Widowmine does take out some Zerglings, but some friendly fire as well. He finally cleans up some Mutalisks. ByuN's army supply is actually quite impressive throughout this. It's just he can't keep doing this for much longer. He's running out of time. He's going to have to take the fight to Reynor.
Yeah, it definitely has to. He needs a good position. He needs to clear some creep first, though, as more workers are going down on his 3rd base. These SCVs not having a good time. The Links at the 5th as well. These mines will not come in handy, and ByuN now needs to attack on creep, and that is exactly where Reynor wants him.
Yeah, there's a stampede of Space Cows coming past him. We've got a whole lot of Ultralists that just popped out, and they will welcome the opportunity to pounce on top. They're not backed up by a lot. Oh, there we go. That's what's backing them up. The Banelings from the south. And Reynor overwhelms to take game 1.
Oh, even made a... Did you see that? The move to the camera? Look at it.
I didn't.
Yeah, put up 2 fingers there and he even raised both of his eyebrows at the same time in rapid succession, Pig. That's a move that I haven't quite seen before, but Reynor pulls it off after an absolutely convincing victory in game number 1 against ByuN. ByuN trying to take it slow, didn't want to get into that multitasking game with Reynor, then accidentally found himself there and kind of got outplayed.
Indeed. It's a hard situation because if you try to get too aggressive versus Reynor and he wraps up a few of your pressures, well, he's going to cover the map and creep and swarm over you. But if you sit back for a little bit too long as well, he's shown an ability to just be patient, bide his time, spread his units out on all sides, and it's hard to figure out where is that weak spot. He showed a small chink in the armor against Maru, where a bit of late game inefficiency versus mech, as well as a bit of struggle versus surprising pressure in the early game. Is ByuN going to try and throw out the curveball? Do we try to proxy Rax this Italian stallion? It's a real problem figuring out how you approach him.
Yeah, ByuN of course is capable of doing these proxies, although I haven't really seen him do that in the biggest tournaments lately. He of course plays a lot of online stuff as well, and there he tends to be a little bit more wild with his strategies at times. But now here, the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, where it really matters, will he have the guts to pull out one of them proxies, whether that be a proxy 2 Rex or a proxy 3 Rex or even just a proxy Reaper. It's not something we've seen in a while, but we know he is very capable of controlling those bad boys.
Bring back the 3 Rex Reaper, dig deep into your pockets. For those who don't know, ByuN is the man that is heavily attributed with getting the Reaper nerfed 4 times? Essentially, they basically were like, okay, he keeps winning tournaments with 3 Racks Proxy Reaper. Well, we'll maybe lower the grenade damage a bit. Okay, still winning. Increase the cooldown so they can't throw the grenades as often. Like, many changes came down over a period of about a year. Until he stopped dominating everybody with those 3 Racks Reapers. But it's a strategy that actually, you know, you still see come back every now and then, and it works really well unless the Zergs have actually had recent practice against it.
Yeah, definitely is one of those builds you need a bit of experience against. I don't think it's going to get pulled out, but it's just a possibility that we need to keep in the back of our minds. Let's get another shot of our beautiful crowd here in Katowice, as Reynor once again kind of banging to them tunes that he's listening to.
Yeah,
I'm focused.
I've, you know, I heard you talking about it earlier, Kevin, but I also tried to listen to that soundtrack and ladder to it. I thought it would make me play better. It didn't work. It seems like those Italian rap songs only work for this player, not for us. But anyway, nonetheless, this guy down here looking to take him out. It is, of course, Shopify Rebellion's Terran Absolute Beast. Down in the bottom right side, give it up for ByuN.
And in the top left, the blue Zerg player from Italy playing for Team Clash. It's Reynor.
Loving that pool first recently. Reynor, he just loves to control the pace of the game. And actually, that's a very quick gas as well. Well, if there's ever a map to do a classic Lambo 5 Roach build from his school on how to be a good Zerg player, this might be it.
But we do see a second Rex here, Pig. Are we going to be seeing some Reapers?
2 Rex Reaper versus this? That's really cool.
It starts with 2. And the third one can always follow.
It'll be a little wild. We have seen a little bit more of the 2 Rex Reaper like TVP, and oh my gosh! You absolute oracle, Harstam. The 3rd barracks goes down. This is going to be super interesting to see how this goes. 3 barracks worth of Reapers. The goal with this, obviously, to get in there and get early damage done, and then to be rotating those Reapers around and letting them regenerate. Now, Roaches are going to be coming across really early, and Ravagers do have longer range than Reapers, but with numbers, and especially if they get like a high ground ledge, some grenades to bounce the Roaches around, I mean, I think Reapers can actually overwhelm this. If ByuN can realize what he's up against and hide the Reaper count, let the Roaches come to him, I think he could actually crush this.
He's scouting with an SCV. He knows it's pool first. He only sees 2 links. He won't get any more info. Reynor sent his first Overlord across the map, but is not checking the natural command center. That is huge. He'll just see the Reaper and think, oh, this is a pretty normal build. He's going to build the Roaches, and historically, from what I can recall, it's been a long time that I've seen 3 Rex Reaper against the pool first Roach Rush, but I do believe indeed that the 3 Rex Reaper is slightly favored here.
Yeah. It does depend on micro, and it also depends on when each player realizes what they're up against. That Reaper is going to be the first to realize. Sees the Roach Warren. If it can get out of there, that'd be really huge. And it will get out down that natural. Okay, this is very good for ByuN. But, the Zerglings will see that there's more Reapers on the way. And he does give up on a command center on the low ground, bunker on the high ground. ByuN swapping into Marine production.
Oh, even throws down a factory here immediately. Is he going to be playing a one-base build?
Yeah, that's a little odd. I really feel like because it's going to be a while to get things out. I think maybe he's just so afraid of these Roaches and Ravagers, but Reynor's actually just gone back to droning now. He says, okay, use the Ravagers defensively, macro on up. I am not going to be able to overwhelm a guy who's got 3 barracks on 1 base. So it's weird for ByuN to have done that, but oh my gosh, he's already starting to get in there. Has lost 1 Reaper, make it 2. Hasn't been able to take out the Ravagers. ByuN, he's got to get a lot more damage. He can't afford to lose all these Reapers for nothing.
Yeah, lost a lot of Reapers already, and honestly hasn't achieved too much with them. 4 workers do end up falling, but 4 of his Reapers has gone down. Oof. All 5 Reapers die. He killed 4 workers. That's it.
Yeah, and behind it, Factory and Starport building add-ons right now, but at this point, I almost feel like you want to focus on some sort of all-in. Maybe the command center is okay, but I don't think you're going to have a good time catching up against a Reynor who drops the 3rd base. If Reynor moves out, drops the 3rd, keeps hitting that drone key, he's going to be really just, I mean, he's going to be at double the workers and probably double the supply within the next few minutes.
He's getting a Cyclone right now, and this feels like a defensive Cyclone more so than an aggressive one. Is ByuN just completely misreading this game?
Yeah, I think he was so worried about the Ravagers coming across the map, and he thought, you know, okay, I'll defend with the bunker, hang on, get a Cyclone to survive, and use the Reapers for the counterattack, but he's kind of done it 1 piece at a time. I think he needed to wait for the Ravagers to come across the map before the Reapers jumped in for the counterattack. And now you can see depots are going down. He will be able to hang on and defend, but he's defending 1 base up against a Zerg that's going to 3 bases. And it does feel like a very rough situation for the Terran.
Just caught a bio as well with that Cyclone. That's not quite supposed to happen. You have a medevac popping out as well. Right now, triple depot is going to fall. Command center will help in not getting supply blocked, but it feels like this shouldn't have been that bad for ByuN. It felt like these build orders matched up well. Yeah. The Marine count is practically non-existent. There are 2 Cyclones here, and speed is still a long way away. So perhaps these 2 Cyclones can achieve something on the other side of the map?
Yeah, he's got Liberators coming in behind that as well. That'll be some cool harassment, very flexible. Really, I love the way the Cyclones work for cleaning up Overlords as well. What I don't love is that it's incredibly expensive and slow to get to, and you could get in an undefended base with this. 4 Hellions kill 20 drones. What do 2 Cyclones do? They kill 3 or 4 drones. They don't have the explosive power to take advantage of a player that's unprepared. They can pick off a unit or 2 here or there, and they can't do that much else. So this is light pressure for ByuN, who's still trailing, and I've really got my eyes glued to his production tab to see what the next step is. Stim, tanks, 5 Marines building at a time. I do like this as an idea, just conceptually. Pump out a lot of Marine tank, try to harass with these units, and get set up for the next stage. He's getting some good trades with the Cyclones so far.
Yeah, he is, but the problem is that Reynor's just building drones behind this. Reynor is not overreacting, says, well, that's 2 Cyclones, what you gonna do with that, buddy? And I kind of agree with him. This Spore is in the correct position. That's a shift-click Liberator if I've ever seen one. And it's not going to deal too much damage. Did the medevac die?
Oh, he lost the medevac and only got 1 Cyclone out. That's so unfortunate.
This is a really painful start here for ByuN, who's, well, he's just all in at this point, right? He is triple Rex, he's getting an eBay. He needs to deal some damage in the next, well, minute and a half, or Reynor's just going to walk away with this game. Never look back.
Reynor is being exceptionally greedy. He knows his opponent's been pinned on 1 base. He knows he opened up with 3 barracks, or at least 2 barracks. He might not realize there was a 3rd. And yet he's going 66 drones, double Evo chambers, roach speed, all the gases. Reynor, definitely, yeah, you're a little ahead off the opening, but this might be a bit too cocky. He's got to get into mass unit production, and he's got to do it fast.
Yeah, I mean, he has hit that 62 drone count at this point. I can't really imagine too many more drones starting. He gets a 4th base as well. He's actually pushing the boundaries of what's possible here. His early game was exceptional, but the greed here is also exceptional. He's getting a lot of money right now, and what he needs is fighting units.
Yeah, there's a lot of players, I think, and fans out there, and they ask, what's the difference between Serral and Reynor? And I go, this is the difference. Serral would have stopped at 50 workers and made a ton of Roach Ravager and prepared for the attack. Reynor says, hey, I'm a little ahead. Let's get a lot ahead. He can be so greedy sometimes. It's what makes him so dangerous, because he can be very aggressive, very all-in, very greedy. He's got a very big range as a player, and that kind of polarizes how you want to play against him. Do you want to go super aggressive and hope to catch out his greed? Because that doesn't do well versus the other extreme end of his playstyle. ByuN here, I think, taking a little too long to get the push going. If that one upgrades, the mass roach kicks in, it's going to be hard to break through.
Yeah, I think ByuN might be misinterpreting this game a little bit. He has been unsure of his position this entire game, and he's just being too passive at this point. He needs to do something. Here we go with the move out. Combat shield is about to finish up. +1 is close to finishing as well. We have a single drop trying to cause some type of distraction, but 8 Marines aren't going to cut it.
And the Shifterator, the shift-clicked Liberator there does go down. Marines coming on forward. I think you're spot on the money past him. ByuN early on overreacted to the Roaches. His Reapers did not get much done. And now Reynor is almost maxed out on Roach Ravager. 1-1 upgrade's about to kick in for him, and he stalled out the tank push. He's getting ready. If Reynor flanks this, then that's going to be especially bad. But even right now, those tanks are clumped up. ByuN is building a 3rd command center. He may have to just abandon the push and run home. I don't think he can get anything else done out here.
Yeah, I don't think we can either. This is a maxed Zerg with 1-1 upgrades. I think Reynor doesn't even mind fighting off Creeper. He just wants to trade. He's getting a bank already 9 minutes into the game, and ByuN is stuck at 130 supply on a single eBay on 48 workers. This is terrible for the Korean Terran player.
Oh, here comes a big old roach sandwich. There's some Terran filling in the middle. It is a little hard for Reynor to find the timing. On the south side, he starts the fight, and in from the top comes a massive sandwich of roaches. The south side of the bread does crumble. It gets a little bit soggy as the Marines punch their way through, but a lot of Marines are falling. ByuN outgunned there, outnumbered, and Reynor smashes it with the pool first roach rush.